how amazing it is to be positive, and we should always be positive all the time. Positive attracts positivity, and negative attracts negative. And if you are not positive, then don't cry about not getting the life that you want. Positivity and gratitude is the highest frequency in the world, and so of course you should always feel them, because this is how you get to manifest everything in your life. Welcome to the debunking series, where we are going to debunk all of the lies and the BS that we have been conditioned to believe to be true, how it affects our lives and how it affects us to always be hearing those be positive and positive attracts positive and all that stuff. I know that this is what I've been taught, that positivity was really the thing that allows you to be on this high frequency, and that this high frequency allows you to attract high frequency opportunities. So what I want to talk about in this episode and in this video is that there's an importance in positive thinking and having what we call positive emotions and all that stuff, but there's also an importance in having what we call quote unquote negative emotions and negative thinking. The brain is well made. The way our body works is also well made. And so of course there's going to be things that serves us, and there's going to be things that doesn't serve us. Our biggest gaslighter is ourselves. And so when we hear narratives that says, you know, you should be positive all the time and you should think positive all the time, what it tells us is that if we do feel emotion that doesn't feel positive or that doesn't look positive in the way that people think they are, then it means that this is bad and that we shouldn't be having those thoughts, or we shouldn't be feeling those thoughts. Then this is when we start gaslighting ourselves, and this is when people start gaslighting you, because they are just telling complete nonsense. If emotions exist, they exist for a great reason. And if emotions exist, does it actually mean that they should be labeled as good or bad? Like, who labeled those emotions are good and bad? Anger is a great thing, because if I'm angry, then I'm able to express it, and so it's about how do I express it, which is the difference. Sadness is a great thing, but it's the same thing. It's about how do I express it that is different. Happiness is a great thing. Joy is a great thing, but it's about how do I express it. And so it's not about, oh, if I'm not having positive emotions and positive thinking, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that or feeling that, so therefore I'm suppressing it. But what we don't want is to suppress our emotions, no matter if it's good emotions, quote unquote, or bad emotions, quote unquote. The way that I use those terms is more like serving emotions and unserving emotions, which is the difference. I can feel happy and it not serving me. I can feel very frustrated and it actually serving me. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on where I am, who I am with, what is happening. Like, of course, if I'm very happy when someone is expressing, frustration at me, or if I'm very happy when someone is expressing, the death of someone else's, this is weird. If I'm happy when I'm attacking someone, again, is this an emotion that is really serving you? I don't know. Maybe not. So, what is positive thinking? It's about seeing the solution, seeing how things will improve. It's about being able to see the sides that are useful, see the good sides if you wish, because it's a great word for people to understand what I mean. But it's not about good or bad again. But positive thinking is not a bad thing in itself. It's not something that isn't useful in itself. But so it's not about being grateful every 5 minutes. It's not about being happy and thinking happy thoughts every 5 minutes. So it's about focusing on solution, focusing on how to improve our lives, ourselves, or improve this situation. It's about how to adapt, how to be more hopeful, how to see things in a way that helps us have this long-lasting vision. Now, what I will call forced positivity, you can call it toxic positivity or whatever, is about you need to stay positive every single time, no matter how hard life is, no matter how difficult a conversation is, or no matter how difficult a situation is. Like if someone is cursing at you, if someone is mean to you, be just positive. Be your positive self. Like keep it positive. And no matter what, even if your life is falling apart, just be positive. Stay positive. Don't complain. Like if you have 2 legs, 2 arms, be positive. Be grateful. And if you're not grateful, then it means that something is bad with you. Like you have wrongful thinking. Just smile and pretend that everything is fine. It's all about pretending, because at the end, physically, mentally, you are not made to only have one emotion or to have 2 emotions like gratitude and peace and happiness and joy and positive thinking and all that stuff. Like it's not made for this. And so at the end, all that you do is pretending. All that you do is suppressing. It's not you thinking positive thoughts that is going to resolve your problem. It's about you taking accountability, being more responsible, or understanding whose responsibility it is to actually solve this problem. We live in a world where so many things are also out of control, and so of course having this positive energy toward it and being able to think about it in a way that is useful is something that we want to think about. But also when we are just having a mental breakdown, this is not what we want. We don't want to have positive thinking all the time, and this is okay. And the thing is that this makes other emotions feels like a crime. It makes feeling other emotions feels wrong. Feels like, oh, you shouldn't be thinking like that, because if you're thinking like that, then it means that something is wrong with you, because you should be positive and motivated for everything and all that stuff. It comes from a place of trying to control everything, trying to control your emotions, trying to control other people's emotions, trying to control, the outcomes of everything in life. And so controlling and trying to control everything never feels good, never feels like something that can actually be sustainable, because you cannot control every single outcomes of your life. You cannot control every single thing and every single person. And so when you do have frustration, and when you do have anger, and when you do have other emotions, you are going to suppress them, because you're like, yeah, but I need to be positive. And it's not from I want it, I am someone who wants to improve the way that I'm thinking about things and all that stuff. It's just about, oh no, everything is okay, everything is right. And so if someone is doing something quote unquote bad to me, oh no, I need to have this positive energy towards them and only think of them with compassion and all that stuff. When I'm just, if you need to say to someone you need to fuck off, tell them to fuck off. At the end of the day, it's about what you truly want. It's about your own values and your own genuine experience. For someone having this genuine experience of, you know what, I'd rather feel compassion for you than to feel anger, because I don't want my energy to go, too much of my time to go about this situation, and I just want to let go of this situation, feel what I need to feel, but I don't want to bother with you. This is how you want it to be. If you want it to be, I'm frustrated at you, I'm angry at you, and I want you to fuck off, then this is what's going to happen. Not every person will have the same reaction and will have the same way of reacting, because it's about how you genuinely feel. And if genuinely it is in your values to say someone to fuck off because they are annoying, then this is what's going to happen. I'm always about be genuine about your reactions, and of course you're going to learn how to be maybe better or maybe make it more useful. Of course you cannot say to everyone to fuck off, but at the end of the day you could. Everyone does what they want, but it's about, is this something that is going to be useful for me? Is it something that is going to be something that allows me to actually make this situation better, or actually find a solution for this situation? Yes or no? And so it's the difference between, oh, I need to be nice to everyone and I need to be a people pleaser because I need to be positive, and actually being genuine about your emotions, but still having these thoughts of, okay, is this useful for me to put my energy here or not? This is the difference. And so people pleasing will be this thing of, oh, I want you to see me as this positive person, as this nice person, and so I'm always going to respond to you with a big smile and with a, oh, it's okay, you did wrong to me, but it's okay. No, it's not okay. If it's not okay, it's not okay. And this is a good thing to say that it's not okay, because this is how we have been able to change things in this world. It's by being loud about the fact that things are not okay, I'm not happy about this, I'm frustrated about this, and this is how the world is able to change. Society has been able to improve or whatever because of the way that we have been able to make our voice be heard. And so if at the end we're like, oh no, it's everything is cool, everything is fine, like no, there's nothing wrong with this world, then of course nothing is going to change. And so it's the same thing in our lives. At the end, it's about living through our values, through our genuine expressions. And so if our genuine expression is to, talk about the things as they are, then this is how we're going to make them happen. And this is how we're going to get what we want without having to be all the time positive, because we are genuine with our intentions. We know what we want, we know how to get this, we know how to handle situations, which is different. At the end, it's not about being positive or being negative or whatever. It's about how can you handle a situation, how do you express those emotions is the difference. It's not about controlling those emotions, because they are just emotions, they are here to be here, but it's what are we going to put into those emotions, what are the stories that we are going to inject into those emotions, what are other people's stories and projections that we are taking for ourselves, and that we are going to say, oh, if I'm feeling that way, it means that, da. Sometimes we over analyze our emotions, sometimes we over express our emotions, and again, all of that is not a bad thing, because you can learn from it, you can course correct it or whatever. We are not meant to be perfect human beings. This is what I always say, we are not made to be perfect, and that's fine. The more you understand that, the more we understand that we don't need to be perfect and we don't need to be positive all the time to get what we want or whatever, then the more you are able to be more efficient with how you manage your emotions and who you are and whatever. But if we always put a meaning into what we feel or what we don't feel, and that we are just like, this is bad emotion, this is good emotion, we don't see the nuance between those emotions, we don't see the whole spectrum between those emotions. And so it's about, is this an extreme emotion? Okay, do I enjoy it? No. Okay, then what do we want instead? How can I see and perceive this emotion differently? Like there's plenty of questions you can ask yourself, and there's plenty of ways, as I said, to express those emotions differently. But if we always have this intention of it being bad or good, then this is not helpful, because at the end of the day, knowing if an emotion is bad or wrong is not going to allow me to manage those emotions or to understand these emotions. If you are disconnected from your emotions, you're disconnected to actually what you feel, and therefore what needs to happen for you to feel differently or to do things differently. As an example, I used to pierce people like on their lobes, and so I was doing piercing. And so one question that people used to ask me is if they should put like numbing cream on their lobes in order for me to pierce them. And I was just like, why would you do that? But because I don't want to have the pain of getting pierced, which is a pain that you feel like for a millisecond, but anyway. And so I was like, if you don't feel, then how would we know that something is wrong? And she was like, what do you mean? Well, you are supposed to have like a little bit of pain. Some people don't even feel it, and some people do feel it, but it doesn't last. But if you put a numbing cream in that you actually have a problem, because I don't know, your ears were not made for this or whatever, if you actually feel like an immense amount of pain, it's not normal. But if you have a numbing cream, how would we know that it's not normal for you to actually feel this and that you need to go to the hospital or whatever? And so this is the same. same with emotions. If you are numbing and using the cream, using positive thinking cream, what will happen if you do have a situation where things are not normal? What are you going to do? You're going to diminish them. You're going to make them not worth anything. And so what will happen? You will gaslight yourself into thinking that this is a normal situation and therefore not change the situation. But if you are like, I'm just so positive because I just lost my house and it's okay and everything is fine, and it's just but are you really? And then you're just not even able to say if you are really, because you're just so used to disconnect to your emotions that you are not even able to process them. Those are things that the more you understand that positive thinking is not necessarily an unuseful thing, but what is unuseful is when you just put those emotional positive thinking stuff in a pedestal, and that your other emotions and thoughts that are not so positive on this thing of you are less than, then what happens? There's an imbalance. We need to be more nuanced about when positive emotions or negative emotions are not useful or useful, instead of being oh, positive emotions are the best of the best and you should always be thinking that because it sells more. It's not about selling more, it's about telling the truth. This is what I want, and of course the truth for me is my truth, which is important to say too. All of those things are beliefs. All of those things that positive emotions are the things that allows us to have everything that we want are beliefs. And what do we know about beliefs? They are not facts, they are not truth. Everything we say is biased by our own thinking. For the first person that was okay, positive thinking is the thing that is allowing me to get rid of all of my illnesses and have the best life of my life, it's just because they convinced themselves that this is what's going to happen and this is what may have happened for them. But at the end of the day, if they had negative thinking too, they still got it. They just didn't realize it, or they just suppressed it. We see so many quote-unquote bad people who always have bad thinking and still get what they want, because they have conviction, they have confidence, they have this thing that they just believe in themselves no matter what. And so they can have bad emotions or negative emotions, quote unquote, but they still get what they want. Why? Because they are just convinced and they are taking the action and all that stuff. And so of course positive thinking will help you build the confidence and build the conviction and build all that stuff, and being able to take action more efficiently because you believe in it and all that stuff. And so of course positive thinking do have an impact, but it's not because you have negative thinking and negative emotions that you're always going to be losing yourself and losing your life. Negative emotions and negative thinking are great too, because when you do have only this optimistic factor, you never see the dangers or the things that couldn't go well or whatever. So as an example, in France, we have an influencer that launched a wine company. And so this person was very optimistic, only optimistic about how it will go. Okay, we have a lot of people in our social media watching us, and so of course it's going to only work. There's only one way for it to work. Yes, the market is not working, but no, let's stay optimistic. And so at the end they launched it and it didn't work. And it doesn't mean that it's because they were having negative thoughts about it or negative emotion that it didn't work. It's just that this is how life works. Sometimes things work, sometimes things didn't work. But they were very optimistic, very highly positive about this, but it didn't mean that it worked out. But at the end, if they had maybe also non-optimistic thoughts about it, they would be okay, so here's how we are optimistic about this, and here are the points where it's less optimistic, but this is great to have the good stuff and the negative stuff that could happen, so that we know if one thing is happening and it's not that great, okay, how can we course correct? And we know if it's only going great, we also know because we have been able to think about the both factors that can happen. This is the big difference between only being optimistic and positive and no, don't talk about things that could go wrong because then you're going to manifest it. But it's also about life is real. things happen. There's a lot of things that we don't actually like control. And so of course we want to also see the things that we don't want to happen, what we could do, what are the solutions we could have. So it's not about only seeing one or another, it's about managing both and balancing the two of them. It's at the end, you can be all what you want. But the thing is to understand why you want to be that way or you want to feel that way. This is the most important part. I'm not here to be like that and say, you need to not be all the time optimistic and positive. If this is truly helping you, stay that way. But if it's not, and if you don't understand why it's not working out for you, even though you are positive and all that stuff, and you feel like it's wrong in your body, you feel like something isn't right with that, then actually understand that it's not for everyone. This is what I want to say. It's not for everyone. It's not helpful for everyone. Do what you want to do. Be what you want to be. If this is helpful, please keep it. If it's not helpful, understand why are you doing it. Are you doing it because someone else is trying to say that this is the way to be successful and this is the way to get what you want in life? Or are you doing it because you want to improve the way you perceive things and you want to feel lighter in your day-to-day basis, or whatever it is? But understand the intention behind it. I am just here to say, hey, this is what I've been through, this is what I know, this is my expertise, and then find your own way, find your own lane. So of course I'm not here to say you should be like this or not. I don't want to do that. But it's about understanding, is it for you or is it not for you? And so this is why this debunking series is important, because this is something that I've been through and it allowed me to be more balanced. And so it wasn't about being positive, it's understanding why having those positive thoughts is important and it's great for some moment, and why those things that we call negative thoughts and negative thinking, and it's the same thing but negative emotions, are also great for some moments depending on the situation and all that stuff. It helped me truly to have negative thoughts sometimes, and it helped me truly to have positive thoughts. And so it's about the balance. Sometimes I have more positive thoughts, sometimes I have more negative thoughts, and it's okay. I'm still a human being and I don't have control over 100% of my emotions and of my thoughts. This is bullshit. This needs to stop. But at the end, everyone does what they want. My position is, the more people understand what they do, the more I'm feeling my mission, I guess. This is the thing. I just want people to understand what they do. And again, I don't have the rocket science truth. I'm not like, those are my opinions, my truth, my ways of seeing, my beliefs. And again, beliefs are not truth. Even scientific facts can have biases inside of them, because it's again based on who is doing the researches. This is why you have multiple researches about the same thing. And sometimes you have researches that doesn't say the same thing, and sometimes it does. And so it allows everyone to breathe and grow and all that stuff. And so if you like this bubble, stay in this bubble. If you don't like this bubble, then let's get out of this bubble together. This is what I truly desire. I guess it's to not be in this false bubble that doesn't help us, that doesn't allow us to be who we truly want to be and live a life that we want, not based on what other people's beliefs or stories are, but based on what we want and how we want it to be. And if it's, I want to be this ungrateful bitch, and then okay, you have a lot of ungrateful persons that just get what they want. So it's not about positivity, but it's about understanding what's behind it, how it can be helpful, but how it can also not be helpful if it's too much. Every extremes are not helpful, but again, depends on who you ask. Some extremes might be great for some people because this is how they feel, and it doesn't mean that for someone on the outside watching it's great, but for them this is how they live, this is their bubble. So it's about what is it that you actually want and desire, and not following someone else's truth every single day is what we want. And understanding, like, of course you don't want to invalidate your emotions, but if this is the only thing that you've learned, it's like this is the only thing that you know, so you don't even know what it means to invalidate your emotions. So this is where I want it to be nuanced. I want it to be something that is not about, this is bad if you're doing this. And yeah, I've always learned about, how positive thinking and is amazing and is important, and this is how I just don't want it to be tied to success anymore. anymore. I just don't want it to be tied to achievement. Being someone who achieves what they want is not about being positive or not. It's a factor, it's a part of it, it can be a part of your process, but it's not the whole process. It's not by just being positive that everything great is going to come your way. It's called luck. And luck has nothing to do with positivity. Again, if you are highly spiritual, this is another way of thinking. Gratitude is different. But it's important to understand that the world in which we live in, we do have external factors that do have an influence over your reality, and that not everything in your reality is tied to being positive. When we understand that, we actually take action, we actually are better achievers, we actually feel better because we understand that not everything is on our shoulders and that not everything is based on how positive you are every single day. And I feel like people get it now, and people are kind of like tired of this narrative of be positive and you know what, something hopeful happened to me, but this is what I've learned from it and this is all the positive stuff that I've learned from it. Like, okay, but is it though how you really feel? Is it though how you really think? If this is really how you think and how you feel, this is amazing. But if this is just for the external validation that you feel that way and that you behave that way, then this is sad. Is being positive a part of your values? Okay, why? If you're not positive, what do you think it will do in your life? Who you will think you will be? This is the difference. If you're being positive, but when you're not, you feel like something is going to crumble, something is going to happen that is going to be bad, then this is when your positivity is just something you're using to hide. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in another episode. Like, subscribe, comment, share, do what you want, and bye.